It's time for our main guest, Sally. This is exciting, and I know you have a great relationship with Dr. Fourlis. Let me just read this off because otherwise I'll mess it up, and I don't want to mess it up in front of the doctor.
Get it right.
I'm going to get it right. Yeah. Mesa Public Schools is the largest school district in Arizona, serving just under 60,000 students in a diverse community. MPS employs over 9,000 employees who serve 85 schools and many departments to serve students and community. Our main guest today is the Mesa Public Schools Superintendent, Dr. Andi Fourlis. Dr. Fourlis, welcome to Mesa Morning Live.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. I'm excited to be here today. Thank you.
Well, it's good to have you. When I say here, it's good to have you on camera with us. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. Why don't you tell us maybe a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, how you ended up where you are, and I'll just kind of open up the floor for you.
Sounds great. I appreciate that. So I'm an Arizona native, born in Flagstaff, Arizona. Spent my entire educational career in the state of Arizona, been raised through the public school system, and have been a career educator since 1991, where I started out as a teacher and then moved my way through district office to the superintendent of Mesa Public Schools. I've been in Mesa Public Schools for 4 years, and the first year as a superintendent, which is, if you can imagine, first year as superintendent during a pandemic. So I will have many, many stories to tell for many, many years.
So when you were receiving your education, was there any talk about here's how you do stuff when there's a worldwide pandemic? Did that ever come up?
No. And if there was, I must have been multitasking and doing something else. So, but no, absolutely not. We are well conditioned to learn how to respond to many different situations, but never can I recall any type of formal education on how to do school during a pandemic. I missed that one.
Well, when things get tough, just remember this: you're handling it better than anyone's ever handled it. I
appreciate that.
Situation. Well, it's something that unfortunately we have to talk about. What has COVID done to Mesa Public Schools? How's this? I know you could talk for hours on this, but what would you like to say? How's COVID affected you?
Paul, while COVID has broken many of our hearts and created a lot of trauma within our community, it's also providing hope. So as I think about the trauma that has happened in our communities, we have children that I've been doing listening sessions, virtual listening sessions with our students. And the stories that they're telling about the importance of in-person learning, what they have missed while we were out of school was all about relationships. So we know that we've got a lot of work to do to bring our kids back up to what they expect out of school, which is all about relationships, not just with one another, but also with their teachers, with their administrators, and with the entire community that serves them. So that's been a huge challenge. Many children just really have slipped into all of the ill effects of isolation, whether it be severe anxiety or depression. We're having to spend a lot of time paying attention to that. And then when I think about hope, we know that the public school system, the industry of public education, has not served all children for many, many, many years. And so this pandemic has shown us, put a really bright spotlight on those areas that we need to improve. And so we have come together as an educational community, and we now have this common goal. How are we going to come out of COVID stronger than we ever were before? And so we've learned a lot of lessons around how we can be better for our students. So that's the part of hope.
How should the community on the whole, and also the viewing audience today, what should they know about what's going on at Mesa Public Schools?
Well, let me tell you about Mesa Public Schools. We started off in 2017, our governing board adopted the Mesa Public School Promise, and that is to know our students by name, serve them by strength and need, so that they graduate ready for college, career, and community. And that is an aspirational goal that we have. That is a promise to all of our community, because whether you are representing the workforce or that you have children that have been through the school system, or you are a child in the system, or you're a parent of kids in the system, that is a promise about making our community and our world better. So we are very committed to that. we really have dissected that particular promise through COVID. What does it mean to know a student by their name and serve them by strength and need during COVID? So we have thought long and hard about that. We're spending a lot of time understanding strength and need. And so what we are learning through COVID is that strength and need means that families and students need to have choices. A one-size-fits-all approach we know has not worked in public education, but we know for sure during the time of COVID that we have to think differently about how we educate our students. So that is a commitment of working towards that promise. So when we talk about students graduate ready for college, career, and community, what does that mean? What does it mean to be ready for college, career, and community? It's so interesting that we had the leaders of Benedictine and we had Ms. Hoy with us here today talking about getting our kids into college. There is an entire intentional system that needs to happen for kids to progress from preschool all the way through higher education and into the world of college and career. So we have to put those partnerships together to make sure that we understand them and we understand them well. So what we did is we went out to our community. We spent about 18 months asking, what does it mean to be college, career, and community ready? As a parent, what is it that you want from your children when they cross that finish line? What do they need to know and be like when they graduate? We asked our business partners, we asked our students, we asked our teachers, we asked our administrators, our support staff. What does that mean? And so what came out of that is we developed the portrait of the Mesa Public School graduate. And that portrait of the graduate are everything that doesn't show up in academics. So for example, our community says that a portrait of the Mesa Public School graduate, that graduate needs to be ethical, inclusive, and they need to be resilient. So we talk a lot about what does that mean. In COVID, we've learned a lot what it means to be resilient, well, a lot what it means to be inclusive. And what does it mean to be empathetic and to truly understand the positions of others and to be inclusive. So then we talked about essential skills. Those essential skills are what we've talked about on this show already today. We've talked about, you talked about the partnership with the Cahoots coming into Benedictine. An entrepreneur mindset is all around collaboration, communication, problem solving, critical thinking, creativity. Those are the skills in the portrait of the Mesa Public School graduate. So when we tell our viewers today, what's going on in Mesa Public Schools, we have an incredible promise that we are committed to delivering on. And that means that we need to harness every piece of our energies to put into our kids so that they graduate with all of those attitudes and skills that I talked to you about in the portrait of the Mesa Public School graduate. So I'll stop there for a minute, see if you've got some questions, and then I can keep on going.
Well, I know that you guys, Mesa Public Schools, has partnered with the Mesa Chamber. And so
Absolutely.
My co-host, the great Sally Harrison, how has that worked out? Sally, would you like to speak to that?
I would, actually. It's been quite a month, actually. Andy and I had some conversations about the students and the struggling that they had been through over the last year. And, knowing the mental health issues that we've had in it's probably the last 4 years now, and the lives that we've lost due to teen suicide. I had heard about an opportunity through Republic Media and a platform that they had. And so I approached Andy and asked if we could maybe partner up and have a writing contest. And so we met with some of her team and pulled together what we thought was going to be a really great platform and opportunity for students and some teachers to really just share their feelings. And we titled it Resilience Through a Pandemic. It was a month-long contest, so students and teachers could go online and they could write their essays. And we did that in partnership and with some sponsors, Core Construction and our friends at Cigna and Community Bridges all stepped up to help us. And so today, I believe Dr. Fourlis has got some names to actually announce our winners.
We're going to announce the winners of the contest?
We are, yeah.
Well,
We are.
Yeah.
We are, and this is a perfect example of that portrait of a graduate coming to life, where our community said our kids need to be resilient. They need to be resilient when they graduate. So what a better way than to focus on that attribute of resiliency during this pandemic. So Sally, if you are ready, I am going to start off with announcing begin with our grades 3 through 4 winners. Then I'll go on to grades 5 through 6, then 7 and 8, 9 through 12, and then our Mesa Public School employees. Does that sound good?
Perfect.
Excellent. So I will, here we go. Grades 3 through 4. We have 3 winners in each category. So I'm going to read each of those. We have Navy Halverson from Zaharis Elementary, who is our first winner in the grades 3 through 4 category, followed by Annalisa Torres from Highland Arts Elementary, and Chelsea Reeves from the Mesa Academy for Advanced Studies. So a big round of applause for our 3rd through 4th graders. And then moving on, grades 5 through 6, we have Landon Isignoma from Washington Elementary, Cecilia Flores from Edison Elementary, and Kendall Vonberg from Mesa Academy for Advanced Studies. So congratulations to our 5th through 6th graders. And moving on to 7th and 8th, we have Alexis Kelly from Mesa Academy for Advanced Studies. We have Brooke Palfazar from Rhodes Junior High, and Vera Milligan, also from Rhodes Junior High. So congratulations to our junior high students. And then moving on to high school, we have Dallin Bowers from Mountain View High School, Shelby Martinson from Red Mountain High School, and Efren Trejo Pantaleon from Mesa High School. 3 high schools represented, so congratulations to you. And 3 employees. We have Alyssa Fisher from Los Sendas Elementary. We have Cindy Peterson from our transportation department. And we have Gina Mazuko from Skyline High School. So a nice representation that we'd like to congratulate. Way to go. And Sally, you want to tell them what they will be receiving?
Sure.
I know that our writers know what they will be receiving.
Yeah.
But love for you to share the generosity to our community.
Well, thanks to our sponsors, we have $200 Amazon gift cards for all the winners. I know, yeah.
Awesome.
Nice prizes, yeah, we're excited. I have to say, I had the opportunity and the honor, really, to partner up with one of the sponsors, and we read through all the entries for the grades 9 through 12. And I think I text Andy kind of late on a Sunday night, basically saying, some of these kind of stop you in your tracks because the stories are just so powerful. You've got kids who had to step up and translate for a parent because their job, status had changed, and just all kinds of stories. And it was pretty powerful. I think we had about 160 entries total, and I'm proud that we were able to do that, and I'm really honored that we got these sponsors to step up and participate with us.
That was awesome. Well, I was going to ask you, put you on the spot. Mm-hmm. you can't speak to one particular essay or project, mm-hmm. but what was the overarching general feel of these contestants? Was it just perseverance?
Yeah, we read the 9 through 12, myself and one of the other sponsors, and from that grade level, or those grades, really the story was about the isolation piece more than anything. Being home, not being around their friends, having to transition to online school, not being able to see family, having family pass away. A handful of them had lost family members or close friends to COVID. Just, so many changes in their lives, and, they're young. It's tough.
Well, when I read in your intro, Dr. Fourlis, when you read 60,000 students, that's just a big number. But you have to stop and think that these are all little individuals, and that's just one component of the family. It just branches out. It's an amazing amount of lives that you're dealing with on a daily basis. And this has been tough on everybody. And boy, as tough as it has been on us grown-ups, kids are going through this is really a challenge.
Yeah. Well, there were stories where children became parents, and taking care of their younger siblings and having to try and get them set up on their Zoom calls and, trying to help them with homework. Just story after story like that. Just really kind of heartbreaking, but also very heartwarming to watch kind of their struggles in the beginning, and now they feel like they came out stronger from some of them. So really good stories.
Well, well, Doctor, not to put any more pressure on you, but I heard a story the other day that I thought was kind of apropos for the times. John Mcenroe, the great dynamic, temperamental, maybe, tennis player, years ago, he took a year off. I think he had some medical issues and some personal issues, and he took a year off. And when he came back, an announcer said, "John, you've taken a year off. What does that do to you?" And he said, I feel like I've taken 2 years off. Because not only did I take a year off where I didn't gain any talent, those around me improved their game. So I really feel like I'm 2 years behind. I kind of, these young kids feel like, man, they're, to be socially behind an extra year now, you've really got your work cut out for you, not only academically, but to integrate them in and get them ready, like you say, for the next phase of their life. This is a, I know you didn't have enough pressure on you. I wanted to dump that on you on this.
Well, I have to tell you, we read a lot in the world of education right now about learning loss, and I would really like to talk to our community about turning that phrase around. I think we need to ask our kids, what have you learned? Because we now have first and second graders that can navigate a virtual call. They can do a virtual meeting. They can drag and drop. They can upload. They can create folders to share their documents and their work with one another. So I think the best question that we can ask our kids is, what have you learned? Because if we approach the pandemic as a deficit, we will continue to align our resources to dig a hole for kids, and that's not what Mesa Public Schools is committed to. We want them to have hope and a bright future, which means we are going to accelerate based on where they are and take them to that next level. So you didn't put any pressure on me. We're looking way beyond and saying, kids, taught us what you've learned. Teachers, what have you learned? And let's take it from there and move forward. So it's been a huge learning experience for all of us.
Well, and I think the one thing that we're all going to be grateful for is, all the things that you didn't like about getting up and getting ready and going to meet people. I can't wait to do all that again. So I think
I can't wait.
Yeah, I think it's going to really that first day back for school is going to be pretty awesome.
And we've been in school. 72% of our instructional days throughout this year, we have provided in-person learning to families who have wanted it with high levels of mitigation. So I can't wait until the first day of the next school year where we have more of our kids back in in-person learning.
That is fantastic. Sally, anything else you'd like to ask or share or brag about? Because I know she's very modest.
Well, she is. She is. She's got a great team. She works really hard. I know she doesn't have any downtime, but I want to brag that both Kevin and Andi are chamber board members.
Well,
So I get to work with them on that side too.
well, that's awesome.